For most of human history, we were blind. We looked at the stars and saw points of light, never imagining that each one could be a sun for worlds far more terrifying than our own. When we finally began finding exoplanets in the 1990s, we expected to find copies of our solar system. We expected order. We expected logic. Instead, we found a cosmic freak show. We found planets where physics seems to break, where chemistry creates nightmares, and where the very definition of life supporting is flipped on its head. Today, we step beyond the edge of the known. We are looking at the rule breakers. This is the definitive guide to the planets that shouldn't exist. Imagine a world that absorbs almost every photon of light that touches it. This is TRES-2b. Located 750 light-years away, it is a gas giant the size of Jupiter, but it is the blackest object in the known universe. It reflects less than 1% of the light from its star, making it darker than coal, or even black acrylic paint. Why is this impossible? According to our models, gas giants should have reflective clouds. Even Jupiter reflects 50% of sunlight, but TRES-2b is a hot Jupiter. It is so close to its star that its atmosphere is heated to over 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, the chemicals that usually make clouds reflective cannot exist. Instead, the air is thick with vaporized sodium and titanium oxide. It doesn't just look dark, it feels heavy. If you were to orbit it, you wouldn't see a planet. You would see a void, a hole in space, glowing with a faint demonic red hue like a dying ember. From a distance, HD 189733b looks like Earth's twin, a beautiful deep blue marble floating in the abyss. But this beauty is a lethal trap. That blue isn't from oceans. It is the reflection of silicate particles in a raging atmosphere. On this planet, the weather forecast is constant. Rain. But not water. It rains molten glass. Because of the extreme heat and pressure, the silicates in the atmosphere condense into shards of glass. Combine this with winds that move at 5,400 miles per hour, 7 times the speed of sound, and you get a planet where the rain doesn't fall down. It travels horizontally, shredding anything in its path. Imagine a world of a billion microscopic knives flying through the air at supersonic speeds. In the constellation Leo, there is a planet that defies the basic laws of thermodynamics. Gliese 436b. It is a Neptune-sized world that is incredibly close to its star. Its surface is a constant 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Normally, water at this temperature evaporates instantly. But on Gliese 436b, the water stays solid. How? It is covered in what scientists call burning ice. This happens because the planet's gravity is so immense that it packs the water molecules together so tightly they cannot become a gas. It creates a state known as Ice 7. It is hot to the touch, yet solid as a rock. It is a mathematical paradox brought to life. Imagine a planet worth $26.9 nonillion. 55 Cancri E is a super-Earth with a mass 8 times that of our home planet. But its composition is what makes it a scientific anomaly. Most planets are made of oxygen and silicates. 55 Cancri E, however, is rich in carbon. Because of the intense pressure and 4,000-degree surface temperatures, scientists believe the interior of this planet is made of pure diamond. At least 1/3 of the planet's mass, an amount of diamond greater than the size of Earth, is hidden beneath a thin crust of graphite. It is a literal treasure chest in the sky. But it is a treasure you can never touch. The surface is covered in oceans of liquid lava, and the air is thick with toxic hydrogen cyanide. When a star dies in a supernova, it destroys everything in its path. The shockwave is absolute. The radiation is lethal. Nothing should survive. Yet, around a pulsar named PSRB 1257 plus 12, we found 3 planets. These are the zombie planets. They orbit a dead star, a neutron star that spins hundreds of times per second, lashing the space around it with lethal X-rays. They shouldn't exist because their parent star exploded millions of years ago. Astronomers believe these planets were born from the graveyard of the old system. They formed from the debris and the bones of planets that were destroyed in the blast. They are cold, radiated, and ghostly, living proof that even death cannot stop the formation of worlds. There is a limit to how hot a planet can be before it ceases to be a planet. Kelt 9Ba pushes that limit to the breaking point. It is a gas giant that is hotter than most stars. The temperature on its day side reaches 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit. It is so hot that even molecules are torn apart. Hydrogen and helium in its atmosphere cannot stay together. They are ripped into individual atoms. The planet is literally being cooked alive. As a result, it has a glowing tail, much like a comet, stretching for millions of miles behind it. It is a gas giant that refuses to stay a gas giant, slowly disappearing into the vacuum of space. In our world, we have one sun. In fiction, Tatooine had 2. But HD 131 399 AB has 3. For a long time, we thought such a world was a mathematical impossibility. Gravity from 3 different stars would surely pull a planet apart or sling it into the dark void. But this planet found a way. It orbits one massive star, while 2 other stars dance around each other in the distance. For about half of the planet's orbit, which lasts 550 Earth years, all 3 suns are visible in the sky at once. If you stood on its surface, you would experience triple sunrises, triple sunsets, or constant daylight for decades at a time. It is a masterpiece of orbital mechanics that proves the universe loves a challenge. What is a planet? Without a star. By every definition we've ever written, a planet is a body that orbits a sun. But then, we found PSOJ 318.5-22. This is a rogue planet. It has no home, no host star, no sunrise. It drifts through the cold, lightless void between the stars, completely and utterly alone. It was likely kicked out of its original solar system by a gravitational tug-of-war billions of years ago. Normally, such a world should be a frozen tomb. Yet this wanderer glows with its own internal heat, carrying the warmth of its birth into the endless night. It is a massive world of molten clouds, wandering the galaxy like a ghost. It proves that some worlds don't need a star to exist. They only need the dark. Then there is GJ 1214b. Astronomers call it a water world, but don't imagine a tropical paradise. This planet is larger than Earth, but smaller than Neptune. Its atmosphere is a thick, crushing blanket of pure steam. But deep beneath those clouds, the pressure is so intense that the water doesn't behave like a liquid. It turns into superionic water, a substance that is part liquid, part crystal. It is a hot, dense, glowing ocean that defies our understanding of chemistry. On Earth, water is the cradle of life. On GJ 1214b, water is a crushing, alien force that would flatten a diamond. We used to think we were the gold standard, We looked at our calm, blue Earth and assumed the rest of the universe followed our lead. But as we have seen over the last hour, we are the anomaly. We live in a quiet corner of a galaxy filled with monsters. We have seen planets that rain glass sideways, worlds made of burning ice, and sunless wanderers in the dark. Each of these impossible worlds has forced us to tear up our textbooks and start again. As the James Webb Telescope peers further into the infrared darkness, and as we prepare to set foot on other moons, we must be ready for the next discovery that shouldn't exist. Because in the vast, terrifying, and beautiful expanse of space, the exception is the rule. Thank you for traveling through the impossible with us. Keep looking at the stars. The most impossible world of all might be the next one we find.